Good morning, All Souls. Well done. Welcome, All Souls. Welcome to New Year's Eve here in the church, to the turning of the year when we make space to hold both the past and the future, looking for what we need to learn from the life that we have lived and listening for what calls us forward. This is a time of recentering our spirits on those things that matter most. And welcome to this celebration of Kwanzaa, a time of reflection and commitment created by those of the African diaspora and celebrated here at All Souls for many years. Welcome to this service where, as a diverse, spirit-growing, justice-seeking community, we will hold up the importance of Kwanzaa and look for what we, with our diversity of identities, can learn from its principles and its spirit as we prepare ourselves for the new year. We begin with words of the creator of Kwanzaa, Maulana Karenga. This is our duty, to know our past and honor it, to engage our present and improve it, and to imagine a whole new future and forge it in the most ethical, effective, and expansive ways. I'm Reverend Bill Singford. My pronouns are he and him. May the candles of the Kwanzaa Kinara that we now light and the flame of our chalice both light a path for us into this new year. a way will be found. Come now and let us worship together. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join in singing our first hymn, Wake Now My Senses.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Rachel Evans, and I'm one of your worship associates today. My pronouns are she, her. Welcome to All Souls Church. Welcome to a community where our search for spirituality and our passion for justice meet and mingle, where reverence for the earth and belief in the dignity of every person inform our ethics, where music is an expression of our joy, acts of justice a symbol of our hope, and exercises of community and caring an expression of our love. Welcome to a place where when we say all souls, we try to mean it. A place where all people of all races, creeds, sexual orientations, gender identities, where all people are welcome to a table of love and fellowship. We're so glad you're here. If you're visiting us for the first time or the second time or the 30th time, but it's been a while and you still feel like you're new, please raise your hand so that we can give you an All Souls welcome. So if you are new here, one of the best ways to get plugged in is through our weekly newsletter. You can sign up through the link on the All Souls webpage, and please see the order of service for a lot of our upcoming events. We're in the process of changing and deepening our weekly land acknowledgement as a commitment towards being the beloved community. The indigenous Piscataway tribes have for generations been the traditional caretakers of these lands. They were once trading peoples in the Chesapeake Bay watershed, living and moving along what we call the Anacostia and Potomac rivers. Over 200 years, 3 All Souls church buildings were built on sites taken from Native peoples. Descendants of those indigenous ancestors are still here in this region and in this congregation. To repair this harm, our congregation must learn more with an intention to build and deepen authentic relationships. We invite all of you in the All Souls community an extended time of education wherever it is that you reside. You might begin by visiting the National Museum of the American Indian, either online or in person. We invite you into more dialogue around this in 2024. But today we want to take a second to honor the legacy of many indigenous tribes who continue to gather at this international crossroads that is Washington, D.C. I invite you now to greet one another. We love greeting in the mornings at All Souls. If you're on Zoom, you can go to gallery view, turn your camera on, and if you're willing and able, you can wave to folks. In the sanctuary, feel free to get up, move around. You can greet folks however you like, a hug, a handshake, or a simple nod. But let's take some time to greet each other. We can keep these conversations going after service. Thank you so much.
If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, I'd hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer out danger, I'd hammer out a warning, I'd hammer out the love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. If I had a bell, I'd ring it in the morning, I'd ring it in the evening, all over this land. I'd ring out danger, I'd ring out a warning, I'd ring out the love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. If I had a song, I'd sing it in the morning, I'd sing it in the evening, all over this land. I'd sing out danger, I'd sing out a warning, I'd sing out the love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Well, we've got a hammer, and we've got a bell, and we've got a song to sing all over this land. land. It's a hammer of justice. It's a bell of freedom. It's a song about love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land.
Amen. There are several coming events to note as we enter this new year. This Wednesday, you can join our acting director of music and arts, Keith Arnold, for some circle singing here at the church. It'll be in the Reeb lobby, I think, although perhaps in here. This is a no rehearsal, no preparation, and thankfully no special talent required experience. You simply can come and have the opportunity to sing together. All ages are welcome. It's family friendly. Just come and check it out. That's Wednesday evening this week. And next Wednesday, the Wednesday following that, on January 10th, we'll begin our next two-session membership class. So if you're ready to formally join this community, you can check the e-news or the website for details. There are two sessions. The first is on Zoom, and the second is in person, and you actually get lunch if you decide to take advantage of that. And finally, I hope that many of you will plan to attend the All Souls Community Storytelling Forum. That's this next Saturday from 10 to 12 here at the church. Based on stories those in the audience, that would be you, will tell, the actors of Verbal Gymnastics will improvise theater pieces on the spot with a live musical accompaniment. It should be quite an event. Thresholds and transitions will be the theme. Those of all ages, over 7, are invited. And the goal here is deeper understanding and even transformation for us and for this community of All Souls. I hope many of you will plan to attend. And finally, if you're not now already receiving the All Souls weekly e-newsletter, make one of your New Year's resolutions to go to the website and sign up for it. It's the very best way to keep informed about the many events and the many opportunities for engagement in this very active congregation. We now turn to the joys and concerns of members of this community, and there are several to mention this morning. First, welcome home to Goldia Hodgson, who is finally in her house after weeks of hospitalization and rehab for lung and heart issues. A good place to start the new year, Goldia. She's with caregivers and extended family at her home. Our prayers and condolences go out to Chris Cervantes, who fell on Christmas Eve in Texas and has a broken foot and ankle. Chris has returned to Virginia and will be seeking further medical care here. She will miss being a part of the All Souls Choir and is in our online congregation for a while. Sending healing wishes to Gordon Kent, who had his 22nd surgery this week in the extended recovery process. The fire explosion at his home in Columbia Heights was almost 2 years ago now, on February 1st, 2022. His cousin Diane reports ongoing progress in fitting prostheses for him as well. We hold Gordon, as always, in our hearts. And we are sending love to Janet Randolph, now in Kansas City, to be with her 99-year-old mother, Dolores Randolph, who's in hospice care at this time. Our prayers are with Janet, her mother, and with their whole extended family. We hold all of those in our hearts, and I invite you at this point to speak aloud into the silence the names of those that you are holding with special care on this eve of the new year. We hold all of the names that have been spoken and all of the names that remain in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts. For a time of meditation or of prayer this morning, we will pour libations to those who have gone before us, as the traditions of Kwanzaa encourage us to do. So I invite you to get comfortable in your seats and allow your breath to carry you into the space of quiet and openness and caring. The spirit of Kwanzaa begins with gratitude for our ancestors, those whose lives made possible our lives. And we pour libations not only to honor them, but also to remember that our lives find their meaning as part of a long stream of life. We pour libations to invoke the presence of those who have gone before, to invoke their presence in us and with us as we move forward. For all of our ancestors, all those for whom our lives are a fulfillment. For those who struggled and were successful, became the first or one of the first. Those whose accomplishments make us proud and remind us of our own capacity to make a difference. For those who loved us, our mothers and grandmothers, fathers and grandfathers, our families of blood and of choice, our teachers and mentors, our sources of inspiration and of courage. For those who struggled and did not succeed, those whom the world did not welcome, those who did not survive the hurts and the hatred. For those we have forgiven, and those who have forgiven us, and for those we have yet to forgive. The water that we pour represents the stream of life and all of the memories that it carries. We invite the spirit of the ancestors to be present here, present now, within us, and as a cloud of witnesses around us. I invite you to speak the names of the ancestors you are holding, the ancestors whose spirits are present for you, to speak those names into the silence that we will hold for a time together. Ida, love. The year was 1966, living memory for a few of us, part of history for many others. Legal apartheid in America was being dismantled thanks to the civil rights movement, but the lives of too few African Americans had really changed. A more aggressive resistance was developing. Black power was the call. Following an incident of police brutality in Los Angeles, Watts erupted in violence. The rebellion lasted for days. Much was burned. 34 were killed, almost all by police bullets. There are two responses to that violent summer I want to hold up for us this morning. Maulana Karenga, then a professor at California State, realized that liberation for Black Americans required not only aggressive resistance, but also positive affirmation, a positive expression of values from an African past, values still living in the collective practice of family and Black community. Karenga created Kwanzaa. Responding to the same events, Black Unitarian Universalists demanded reparations from our privileged denomination. Some of us remember those days too. Though only part of the promised amount was paid, funding was provided for an important series of empowerment events. A Black Affairs Council, made up of Black Unitarian Universalists, distributed the money. The Eyes on the Prize videos that many of you have seen were funded by money from the Unitarian Universalist Association. And a system of values which became the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, the Nguzo Saba, were supported in many ways, including funding of the first Congress of African Peoples. Black Unitarian Universalists were in the national conversation about race and were early and ardent supporters of Kwanzaa. That was the era of David Eaton's ministry here at All Souls, when this congregation became vibrantly biracial. Kwanzaa comes to this sanctuary honestly. Now, there's a lot of water under the bridge since the 1960s. Much has changed in our world, in our faith, and here at All Souls. But much has also not changed. The reasons Kwanzaa were created are still real for us today. And our service this morning is an opportunity for this beloved community to reflect on what we all can learn from Kwanzaa and the values that keep the spirit of Kwanzaa real in the hearts of so many. What we can learn as a diverse, spirit-growing, justice-seeking community, a community in which so many identities are present and valued. The word Kwanzaa is derived from a Swahili word for first fruits. It's a harvest festival, and you see some of the fruits on the Kwanzaa table here. And there are 7 Kwanzaa principles, as I said, one held up each day of the week. Kwanzaa is celebrated from December 26th to January 1st. Unity is the first, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, kuumba, which we celebrate on the 6th day of Kwanzaa, creativity, and imani, faith, celebrated on the last day, the first day of the new year in our culture. These principles have deep and specific resonance for those of us in the African diaspora, and can have meaning for those of us who do not share that history and identity as well. There can be depth of meaning for all of us in this reflection, but that meaning will be different depending upon who we are and what life experiences we bring. So welcome to this reflection on Kwanzaa in mixed company. Both Morgan Duncan and Rachel Evans have agreed to help us engage these questions, and I am grateful to them both, and I invite them now to offer their reflections.
Good morning. My name is Morgan Duncan, and I was asked to tell you how I come to Kwanzaa. It's taken me a while to appreciate Kwanzaa. I first encountered the celebration in 1968. I was 6 at the time, but my sisters, who were 12 and 14 years older than me, tried to explain what it was to the rest of the family when they came home for Christmas break from college, from Howard and from Fisk University. I was too little to take it in, and my parents were too freaked out by my sister's new afros at the time to really pay attention. I learned more about Kwanzaa while I was at Howard University in the 80s, but my focus, as is sometimes the case with college students, was a little too self-centered to really appreciate it. It wasn't until I started coming to All Souls around 15 years ago that I truly began to understand Kwanzaa and appreciate how it meshes with what I do and why I do it. I've been fortunate enough to have spent my life devoted to the theater. Most of the time I have been a professional actor, but I've done a fair amount of teaching. I tend to begin my classes by asking my students to define art. I ask them what that means, and we talk about it for a moment, and then I offer them my definition. My definition is that art is the process and product of someone selecting elements from the world as they understand it and presenting them together for a purpose. There are a few parts of that definition that are worth unpacking. First, that the artist is not selecting from elements of the world as it is, but from his understanding. I think we all understand that there's a difference between what is and what we understand. I also want to talk about the part about presenting, yes? It's not important, our musings on life are important, but they don't become art until we share them. And the last bit is about for a purpose. The artist selected those parts of the world as they perceive it to try to express something. This is all well and good. But the magic of art occurs after it is encountered by the audience. At that point, the artist's chosen purpose becomes much less important than the audience's interpretation. And that magic grows and deepens as more people share their reactions. It is at that point, the point when we see the work and see others see it, that we begin to internalize both how very much we share with our neighbors and how much our lives are enriched by the subtleties of their different perspectives. Kwanzaa itself could be seen as an artwork, a holiday created for a purpose, not as a commemoration of a historical event or a celebration of a miracle, but as a way to enhance and nurture the community. Each of the guiding principles speaks to me in different ways, but today's is the closest to my heart. Today's guiding principle is kuumba, creativity. Specifically, the principle asks us to, in whatever ways we can, strive to leave the community more beautiful and beneficial than we found it. This is not a purpose about an individual piece of art, but as art as a whole, both the task of the artist and the audience. It's about seeing opportunities in everything for speaking and sharing our understanding of the world. And through this shared expression of expression and experience, we grow to understand each other and the world around us. And Through that understanding, our community grows stronger. Thank you.
When Reverend Bill first asked if I would be willing to share reflections on Kwanzaa as a white congregant, I immediately felt the need to come clean. Reverend Bill, despite being a good Unitarian Universalist that believes I can and should learn from the vast spectrum of religious and cultural traditions, I don't know much, nor have I ever celebrated Kwanzaa. I suspect this is true for many of us in this room who are not of Black or African American identity. Growing up, I heard about Kwanzaa, but I also had the distinct understanding that it was not for me, and therefore I should not participate in any way. I would suggest that that sentiment is half true. It is absolutely true that Kwanzaa isn't for me or about me. And yet, how much richer is my life for having participated in and learned from rituals and traditions outside of my own? I have shared the Shabbat table with my Jewish friends and done my best to learn Hebrew prayers. I've joined in Bollywood-style dances at a traditional Indian wedding, and I've even drunk my fair share of green beer despite having zero Irish ancestry. But in each of these settings, I also knew my place. It wasn't to lead or host or dominate the discussion. I don't wear a spitzel among my Orthodox friends or a bindi amongst my Hindu friends, since neither are part of my heritage. But I do my research ahead of time, so I know the do's and don'ts. I come with a spirit of curiosity and joy and gratitude, and an awareness that this gathering has something to teach me. So why should Kwanzaa be any different? As I've worked to educate myself on Kwanzaa this last month or so, I would offer a few reflections on ways that those of us that do not have ancestral ties to African peoples might honor this important holiday. Number one, reflect on community and rootedness. In our modern, Western, white-dominant culture, we are fiercely individualistic. It's almost a given that educational attainment and professional success requires that we uproot from our childhood homes and move somewhere else to seek our own fortunes and futures. I've done this myself. I was raised in East Texas, but my wife and I feel committed to raising our own family right here in Washington, D.C. And yet, this lack of rootedness comes with a cultural cost. Feelings of loneliness and isolation are skyrocketing in this country. And I can't help but think that a lack of deep historical connection to place contributes to that trend. Kwanzaa is, among other things, a celebration of community identity and rootedness, and an acknowledgement that the wisdom and beauty of African culture permeates across the diaspora, uniting Black Americans across location, religion, and class. The principles of Umoja, unity, Ujima, collective work and responsibility, and Nia, purpose, prompt us to challenge the toxic individualism that permeates our culture. How might these celebrations spark conversations in our own households about lineage and connection to people and places that are bigger than us? Number two, invest in future generations. Kwanzaa is a forward-facing holiday where children and their health and thriving take center stage. It's a commitment to building a world that is freer, kinder, stronger, and more just for our descendants, and making sacrifices and investments on their behalf. Self-determination pushes us, which is one of the Kwanzaa values, pushes us to build a world where our young people can define their own identities and destiny. Ujamaa, which means cooperative economics, reminds us that we can't do that if only a small percentage of us are part of the ownership class, and that we must work to ensure all people have a stake in their homes and in their businesses. Kuumba, today's value, creativity, asks us to respond to a changing world around us with openness and curiosity, serving as agents of regeneration and reinvention, making the world a more beautiful place for the generations that follow. And then number three, celebrate in joyful solidarity. So often when I hear the phrase standing in solidarity applied to our Black brothers and sisters, I think of the trauma and injustice that is so often facing their community. But why must we reserve our sense of solidarity for the painful seasons? Why can't we also show up and affirm our commitment to Black joy and Black freedom and Black beauty? Why not let our bodies be filled with the rhythm of African dance and the warmth of a traditional Karamu feast? The final principle of Kwanzaa, Imani, or faith, challenges me to remember that we are all meant to reconcile to each other as one just and liberated and righteous people, more diverse and more beautiful than the stars in the sky. So let us clap and cheer and celebrate as we see our neighbors and friends and family members lift up their unique heritage and history. So in summary, how do I, as a white person, participate in Kwanzaa? By showing up supportively when I'm invited to a feast in a home or a block party. By learning proactively however I can, seeking out Kwanzaa community events and celebrations. And by recognizing that this holiday is yet another opportunity to reflect with awe and gratitude on the role our Black brothers and sisters play in forming the greater beloved community of which I am so humbled to be a part. Thank you.
Let's give them a hand. I want to thank you both. It is no small thing to come up in a beloved community where various identities are represented and speak from the heart and from your identity at the same time. These two have just offered a great gift to this beloved community. You can applaud them again. That would be all right. And I could not refrain from offering a little sermonizing at you now. Because the message of this morning is that there is a way, that there can be a way, that in this church called All Souls, there has to be a way found for a vibrantly diverse and pluralistic community to bring a diversity of gifts to the table of this faith. There must be a way here at All Souls. And that's an article of faith in this church. But this is not simple. Nor does this community have this all figured out, despite long lived engagement and a history with many successes and many times of falling short. But it's an article of faith in this sanctuary that vibrant, diverse, beloved community is a possible dream, a dream, perhaps the only possible dream that points us toward hope. It's an article of faith, and it brings with it some real challenges. Can we hear the kind of authentic but not simple relationship to a particular tradition that Morgan offered, and find in it affirmation if we share one or more elements of the identities that he brings, but also find in it inspiration if we come with different experiences and identities? Can we cross those boundaries? Can we come with gratitude for his sharing and gratitude for a community that places value on such sharing? Can we approach the truth of others among us with curiosity and appreciation that Rachel brought, using it to explore our own meanings without imposing those meanings on the meanings of others? Can we truly understand ourselves as works in process in this religious space rather than finished items? And this is not simple. Certainly not for religious leadership. What identities do we hold up? There are so many present right here in this sanctuary now. Which identities are represented from that high pulpit behind me and the other leadership positions in this church? What stories are told in worship and by which voices? How do we balance broad but occasional engagement with many traditions? How do we balance that breadth with the richness that comes with depth in a single religious or cultural space? Is that welcome of diversity enough of a center for a religious community like All Souls? And how do we deal with the truth that so many of us live in families that are racially or culturally or religiously diverse, with sexual orientation and gender identity, immigration status, and ability adding both additional richness, but also further complexity to what we bring? There are many questions that Kwanzaa can lift up for us to reflect on. But in this community, we believe that engaging with those questions is part of our journey toward wholeness, that these questions are central to our religious journey. And on this New Year's Eve, on this sixth day of Kwanzaa, when creativity, when kuumba is the focus of our reflection, my message is that there is a creative space for engagement for us all, a creative space that can open the door as we approach this new year, a door to a new space and a wholeness that we perhaps are only beginning to glimpse. Now, that's a statement of faith. I know it is. But isn't faith, imani, that final principle of Kwanzaa, isn't faith what you come here, what we come here to find in this diverse, spirit-growing church called All Souls? Happy Kwanzaa. Happy New Year. Ashe and Amen.
Good morning to you, All Souls. Again, good morning to all. I would like to introduce you to two of my very good friends. If you don't know who I am, I'm Angela Powell Walker, your interim Associate Minister of Music. But next to me, I have my good friend Peter Burrows, and on the piano, Carlos Rodriguez. And in the spirit of kuumba and creativity, you will now use your brains to be creative with us today to create our final song of our service today. So I will now put the reins in Peter's hands, and he will show you exactly what they need to do. And I am going to be taking notes, so be willing to participate, please.
All right, I'm glad that Angela's the note taker. You don't need to be afraid. Carlos and I have a small company called Romez 3 Arts, which is an acronym for Reach Out Through Music. It's
easy.
Yes. And we look to engage audiences and communities to enrich by participating with them and hopefully to empower others through the work of music. And so this is a song that we wrote that has parts that can be moved around so that it can be appropriate for a given community. So first, I think you should learn the chorus because you're going to sing that with us, right? Can you say move?
Yes.
Ah, very good. Can you say it 3 times in a row?
Move, move, move.
And then we'll say feel the rhythm.
Feel the rhythm.
All right, let's try that. Move, 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 feel the rhythm. All right, now there's a little poetic license. Voice the change is the next thing we're going to say. So we say move, 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 voice the change.
Move, 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 voice the change.
And then we have to use a little improper grammar to say not just move together. That's my mom and me, but I like it. Not just move together till we all participate. I guess you see it behind me, right?
Yes.
All right, let's do it all together. We'll just chant it first, and then we'll sing it. 1, 2, here we go.
Move, move, move.
Feel the rhythm. Move, move, move. Voice the change. Not just move together till we all participate. All right, so then there's a melody, but it's pretty easy. Let's try it. Move, 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 feel the rhythm. Move, 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 voice the change, not just move. Move together till we all participate. Everybody now. Move, 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 feel the rhythm. Let's move. Move, move, voice the change, not just move. Move together till we all participate. All right, you guys are pros.
Yes. This is the best singing congregation in all the land.
Yes, 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 yes. So part of the song is spoken verse as well, and I used my feeble mind to come up with a verse about Kuumba, and then we're going to build a verse that's important to you all. So let me just read to you kind of the way that it goes. Kuumba brings us close to you, doing all we're meant to do. Any way that we may choose, create in our community. All that we've inherited must be nurtured, must be fed. Leave our beneficial space more beautiful. Let's keep the pace. Move, move, move. Yeah, there we go.
I think they got it. And now while
got
you're
it.
thinking of your creative verses at this time, I believe our offering will also be collected.
All right. So we're just looking for the ideas in your head about how to use creativity in the community to enrich, engage, empower others. Who's first? How to use creativity in the community to enrich, empower, or engage, enrich, and empower others. Or anything else that's important, really.
Any hands? Any hands? They're all thinking.
Did I hear storytelling? Storytelling, very important,
Storytelling.
right? I heard something down back there. Storytelling, dancing too. How about that? Storytelling, dancing too. Where do we go next? Gardening. Sharing crafts, did you say? You got these down? All right. I love this. Cooking. Libations.
You're my favorite person.
Being with children. Playing games. Singing. Hugging. Eating a feast. Coming together.
Okay, I'm fast, but I'm not that fast, people. But keep going. Making art. Any more? Singing. Any more? Any other ideas of how you have creativity to promote your community and move it forward? Your Kuumba. Writing.
Clapping. Listening. I think we have about 10 verses so far.
All right. All right, and we have cooking. Yeah, so right now I have a list of storytelling, dancing to, gardening, sharing crafts, cooking, libations, being with children, coming together, making art, singing, writing, clapping, listening, playing games, and laugh. Gotta have laughter.
Marching.
I think we've got good stuff going on here. Would you like to try the verse one last time? Sing along with us on the move, move, move. Let's try it. 1, 2, here we go. Move, move, move.
Feel the rhythm.
Move, move, move.
Voice the change, not just move. Move together till we all participate. One more time.
Move, move, move.
Feel the rhythm. Move, move, move. Voice the change, not just move. Move together till we all participate.
You got it. You
All
got
right.
it. All right, so let's take this time, thank you very much, gentlemen, to stand and sing our final hymn. Yes? All right. Page 147, When All the Peoples of the Earth.
Can create, whatever welcome of the Spirit we can sustain, begins with the truth of our lives in all their particular richness and character. May this faith be blessed by the richness that flows from those individual truths and the hope that is open to us by love. May that be so. Ashe and amen.
So given just a little bit of time, I think this might work. If we say 1, 2, here we go. Storytelling, dancing too, libations, cooking, making art, singing, clapping, listening, with laughter march with children's hearts. What do you think?
I think they did it.
All right.
Ready? There we
All
go.
right.
1,
So-
2, move.
Move, 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 feel the rhythm. Move, 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 voice the change, not just move. Move together till we all participate. Everybody now. Move, 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 feel the rhythm. Move, 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 voice the change, not just move. Move together till we all participate. The voice of time is speaking. Come and take my hand. It's time for us to listen. Time to make a plan. Appreciate our differences and build a common dream of caring and community. Our overture and theme. Everybody now. Move, move, move. Feel the rhythm. Move, move, move. Voice the change, not just move. Move together till we all participate. One more time. Move, move, move. Feel the rhythm. Move, move, move. Voice the change, not just move. Move together till we all participate. Kuumba brings us close to you, doing all we're meant to do. Any way that we may choose, create in our community. All that we've inherited must be nurtured, must be fed. Leave our beneficial space more beautiful. Let's keep the pace. Move, move, move. Feel the rhythm. Move, move, move. Voice the change, not just move. Move together till we all participate again. Move, move, move. Feel the rhythm. Move, move, move. Voice the change, not just move. Move together till we all participate. Storytelling, dancing too, libations, cooking, making art, singing, clapping, listening, with laughter march with children's hearts. Move, 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 feel the rhythm. Move, 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 voice the change, not just move. Move together till we all participate. Everybody now. Move, 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 feel the rhythm. Move, 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 voice the change. Not just move. Move together till we all participate. All right. Move, feel the rhythm. Move, 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 voice the change. Not just move. Move together till we all participate. All right, now we're gonna 1, 2, 3. I'll start, you join. Move, feel the rhythm when you move, voice the change. Move, feel the rhythm when you move, voice the change. Move, feel the rhythm when you move, voice the change. Move, feel the rhythm when you move, voice the change.
Not just move,
feel the rhythm when you move, voice
then
the
move
change. Feel the
together.
rhythm when you move, voice the
Not
change.
just
Feel
move,
the rhythm when you move,
then
voice the
move
change. Feel
together.
the rhythm when you move, voice the change. Move, feel the rhythm when you move, voice the change. Move, feel the rhythm when you move, voice the change. Till we